In the summer of 1989, the Kingsbury family moved to London. We had a couple of temporary places in which we were able to stay. And during this time, I had a meeting. We had a meeting, Connie and I, with a man by the name of Michael Carr. Now, Michael and his wife had come to the church on the way where had been on staff. They'd come there for a number of years to these pastor conferences that Pastor Jack Haber did in the fall, every fall for several years. And they stayed with one of our good friends, Jim and Mary O'Brien. They stayed with them, and so they kept that relationship, and they stayed then every time after that. They came out several times. They stayed with Jim and Mary. And Jim said, that Michael and his wife, they pastor an Elim Pentecostal church, and he's in some kind of leadership role. Why don't you go meet with him and while you're there? And so, with no agenda really, we went ahead and had the meeting, and so we're talking and talked about how much we liked the O'Briens and that kind of thing, And then he said, you know, I have a church that I'm wondering if you could look out for me for a while. Look after the church for a while. It's in a place called Guildford. Guildford, Surrey, the city of Guildford was about 30 miles southwest out of London, about halfway to the coast. So he said, it's his church was up near the airport, Heathrow Airport. But they said, if you could that's where we met him. If you could just drive down and take a look. And he gave me the name of somebody that we could contact. So Connie and I drove down, and when I say take a look, it was a house. It was what they call a semi-detached, a duplex in Guildford on one of the estates there. And so they had no church building. They had one version, but it was sold, and so they're just meeting in a school in the estate, in the area, that whole community. So we prayed about it and talked, met with some people there, and we agreed. Yeah, this is something we will come and pastor the church. So we then, after these temporary places, were able to get into this duplex, and it was 2-story, small, with a nice, lovely back garden. And we were given money ahead of time to buy appliances and everything, and we settled in. And Connie and I began to co-pastor this church because I was traveling with the mission, um, and when I did, Connie would do the speaking, and so together we pastored this church. About 25, 30 people. I think we had the highest we ever had was like 35 or 36, but all British, all English, and one American couple that were there for a while in the area that I'd known through the mission. But it was a great experience. Met some really fantastic people, some of whom have gone on to be with the Lord, one of whom is still alive and in her 90s. And I want to give a shout out to Edna Wetton, and she and her husband Brian are part of the church, and we were in their house quite a bit. She would just love to serve tea or coffee, especially tea, in the afternoon, and a lovely couple. And they're just, and there are others. Doug and Davina Graham, they're still there in Guildford, and Doug was a really genuine good man, and we love Doug and Davina a lot. And I can remember once I was with Doug, we were in the high street getting a cup of coffee together, and there was a what we call a meter maid was going by and checking the meters and giving tickets if anybody was, had their time had expired. And so we put our money in the meter and got our time, and I said, in the States we call these meter maids. Well, what do you call them here? He said, predators. I tell you, these were really good-hearted people. We had a great time, and with every single one in the church, it was a great experience, and a good place for our daughters to connect. There was no one their age, but it was a great spiritual family, an extension of our own. I was really, really, really grateful for that. So for the time that we were in there, 2 years we were there in the UK, in England, we pastored the Elim Pentecostal Church of Guildford, and it was a great experience, and the people made it that way. I think it's pretty much always the case, isn't it?